What do you remember about September 11th? Where were you?
When I first heard about it, I was at the bus stop, and because I was in junior high at the time, and one of my friends that lived across the street from me was like, "Oh my gosh, did you hear like what happened?" And when she was explaining everything to me, in my mind, I was just like, I don't know, like, is that like, I thought like it was just like a plane crash. Like I didn't know like the extent, or had even ever heard of the Twin Towers, so I didn't really grasp what the total damage was then. And then, but finally, when I got at school, they were showing it in like my history class, and like in the like we had like a little news that would go on every morning, and so then I kind of saw more of like what it was and like what happened, and yeah, that's.
And so what grade were you in?
I was in 7th grade.
And what school were you going to?
Brockbank Junior High.
Is that what city is that in? Is that in
It's
Utah?
in Magna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's here in Utah.
And so once you did understand what was happening, do you remember what kind of feelings you had about it?
Yeah, like it was definitely like sad that like so many lives were lost, and like why someone would even want to do that is also like my question too. That I was just like why would you purposefully ran into a building? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Do you remember feeling afraid at all, or?
I don't think at that time I was afraid, because I mean, even though it wasn't like a terrorist attack, I didn't really understand like where I was, and I felt like it was far away from me at the time. Like I was just like, my little town is Magna, Utah. I felt it was so far away that I don't know, not really like I didn't feel immediate threat.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And do you remember learning about it, that event, in school, and having kind of the implications of it explained to you?
Yeah, I think my teacher was like Miss Meyer, I think, and I think she went over it a little bit and kind of was like explaining it to a lot of the students, because a lot of us just didn't like know like what it was, like the buildings or anything. So.
Mm-hmm. And how do you think that event affected you? Was that something that you thought about as you were growing up at all, or? I mean, do you feel like it's something that was always a part of your world? How did it kind of shape your view of the world?
Until, like, I always think that now, like, it's a possibility, and I don't know, sometimes I'll hear, I guess what the most thing too is, like, my family's from Peru, and terrorist attack there are a lot more common, I think, and one of the things that my parents said was, like, wow, like, we didn't think, like, this could happen here, because that's kind of why they moved here, is to kind of get away from that whole corruptness down there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like, oh, like, because in my mind, like, I thought USA is like this like awesome country, and so it did kind of like, I guess, make me a little bit afraid, like growing up a little bit, saying like, oh, it could happen again, or even closer, who knows where.
Mm-hmm.
But not too much. And I guess like I would see like videos sometimes of like all the families that lost someone in it, and so that's sad.
Yeah. And would you think about what that would feel like?
Yeah, like, I mean, obviously,
to lose someone.
Yeah, because I've never lost someone in my immediate family, so I couldn't even imagine like having to go through that.
Mm-hmm. And now that you're an adult and you're in college, and when you think about September 11th, and it being the 10-year anniversary this year, what do you think about? Are there new ways you're thinking about it now?
I mean, definitely to honor those that gave their lives, like to help those that were, whether they were the firefighters or the police officers or just anyone, and not so much, I guess, dwell on the negative parts about it and look more on the more positive side, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's okay. When they caught Osama bin Laden, was that another moment that you'll kind of remember where you were?
Yeah,
How did you feel on that day?
Gave a lot of people closure, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was glad that happened, and so just to kind of put some people's mind at ease, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. Oh, and did your parents, did they come here before you were born, or?
No, I moved here when I was 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, so they came here like, years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have 2 siblings that were born here, but
Mm-hmm.
the rest of us were.
But I guess it kind of did it kind of change your image a little bit of the United States being like this perfect like.
Yeah, because that's what
place.
my parents always told me, was like they came here because it's like a better country, and so like I just pretty much thought I was safe. And sometimes I think that too, living here in Utah, that
Mm-hmm.
even in Utah, like I'm in just this little bubble that's so
Mhm.
safe. And then my mom always reminds me that not everywhere you go is safe, Joyce.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, because she has a different mindset, I think, than me. Like I don't care, like I'll go walk out at night
Mm-hmm.
or something, or like I'll go running, and then it like makes her really upset if I
Yeah.
do that.
Sure, she's concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing's gonna happen to me.